For this lesson, we're going to talk about strings in Java as well, some string methods, looping, printing, all that fun stuff, indexing, and then we'll kind of be able to use those in the work that we do moving forward. It's important to note that strings are not a primitive data type in Java, they're an object type. So when we create a string, there's a couple of different ways we can do it. So let's look at a couple options. So we can do something like a literal string, which is a string wrapped in quotation marks. So characters in quotation marks are just strung together to make a string. And we can do it using the capital S string as the type, word as the variable name, and then equals quotes, and just do a literal string. You can also do string word2 equals new string using object notation. You won't really use that, but it's good to know that we can. So we can print these out. And we'll see that the strings print out. So what we need to understand about strings is that strings are broken into indices, starting from 0, moving their way up, and every single character that is strung together gets an index, all the way from 0 up to the end. So there's a couple of important values. One of them is length. Length, which is a method, so it has double brackets. So if we call word.length, these are strings, and we're going to print the length of each of these strings. So when we look, 19 and 16. So let's start counting, starting with the S of Superman. So 1 for S. If we're counting, we start at 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So there's 19 characters. The spaces count as characters. That's important. Okay, so let's see here. Starting the count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I'm counting from 1, the fifth letter is R. So I could also do what's called box notation to print an individual index. So I could do box 5, which is just going to print the character found at, oh no, sorry. So I can do something called a charAt method, charAt, where I put an index in and it will print only the character there. So we counted and the fifth character was an R. We run that and we get an M. Well, it doesn't really make sense. Oh, that's the one after. Let's start from 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's because we're starting at 0. So remember, the indices start at 0. So when we're trying to pick a character, we have to make sure that we use that notation. Okay? You can also use a substring method where you can put a starting and an ending value. So you could do like 4, 5, which would print the fourth character but not the fifth character, but it prints it as a string. So there's my R, as opposed to as a character, which is a primitive data type. You can do longer ones, like you could do from 0 to 5 and print that, right? You could also just do 5, and then it'll print from 5 to the end of the word, right? So there's lots of different ways to use a substring method. It's important that we recognize those ways. When you do a double parameter, it will include the first, but exclude the second. So this would be 2, 3, and 4. So 0, 1, this would be P, E, and R. Okay, so it's important that we recognize that the fifth would not be included in that. So we can also use the length method combined with substrings or combined with charAt. So let's say we wanted to print the last character. In this, we could do something like the length of the word. Now remember, don't use the length as an index because it won't be there. So -2 or -1, and then we could print that substring, right? There's the last character of the string, and that's dynamic too. So if I go back out to my thing and I add a couple exclamation points on the end, and I run that, you'll see that it has dynamically adjusted to the last character. Okay, so lots of different ways that we can do that. We can also loop through our words. So we could do something like for int I equals 0, I less than word.length, I plus plus, system.out.println, word.charAt I, for example. So print individual characters down. And I'll just shorten these to just Superman and Batman, just to make shorter work. Okay, so if I run that, you'll see Superman, each character printed on an individual line, because I'm accessing them one at a time using a loop. Remember, this will not include length as an index, so you're safe on getting hit with an out of bounds error, which obviously you don't want to do. You could have also done this with substring using I, comma, I plus 1. And that's fine, again, because this is exclusive. So even at the end, when that is going to be equal to length, it won't include that value. So you're not going to hit an out of bounds error. And that'll print the exact same thing, just record it as a string. So we can do these loops. We can do while loops or all kinds of loops, but this is the most common way we're going to loop through a word, is using the length of the word and then grabbing substrings from within that word. So you kind of get the sense of how you can work with them. Now you can also concatenate strings together, right? So you can do something like string word 3 equals word 1 plus is in love with space plus word 2, and then system.out.println word 3, right? So it's going to take whatever the characters in word 1 are, it's going to take this literal string, concatenate it onto the end, and then it's going to take this, and it's going to concatenate it onto the end again. So you print that. Oh, oops. Where did I mess it up? No semicolon, that'll do it. No, that wasn't it. Because it's not called word 1, it's called word. There we go, and we run that. And there it is, all concatenated together as one string. So the Java Quick Reference Guide that you get with all your tests in the exam has a whole bunch of examples of the string methods that you're going to use. But the number one challenge that people have when it comes to strings is the indexing. You need to be able to interpret the indexing in a string. So knowing what character blocks are where and how you're going to loop through looking for certain things. And that's really where the challenge is going to come when we start talking about problem solving around strings. So hopefully that helped. Talk to you later. Have a good day.